City Nash reacts on Foogiano being released from the Fed.
Foogiano definitely is home. That's what the paperwork is showing. I think Gucci gotta offer Foogiano the bag. I have the opportunity to talk to All-Star JR, but I don't want to.
Foogiano, I don't know if you and Gucci got some beef going on behind the scenes, but please thoroughly think out the decision before you make your next move with that man. And Gucci not linking up with these niggas no more, never mind.
Foogiano just stepped out after 5 years in federal prison, and the first move he made, he sent a cold, direct message straight to Gucci Mane. This was not some sneaky post or coded line. It was sharp, intentional, and perfectly timed. He did not come home to peace either. He walked right into chaos. The label is in flames, and everything around it feels unstable. His CEO is allegedly dealing with a wild situation. Reports saying he got robbed and held at gunpoint by his own artist, Pooh Shiesty. Federal kidnapping charges are being talked about, and a diss track called Crash Dummy is already making noise in the streets. Now add this, Gucci's last loyal voice just came home after 5 years, sitting on thoughts and pressure with something to say. That timing, not random at all.
Foogiano, released from prison, served 4 years. The last artist left on the 1017. Everybody's either dead or in jail, literally, or released. He was one of the 2 artists that Gucci decided to keep. Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano, of course. He's been released. The internet's going crazy.
Foogiano spent those years locked in, watching the same man he looked up to turn into one of the most talked about figures in hip-hop. The moment those doors opened, he stepped into something way bigger than music, something layered, intense. For context, Foogiano, born Kwame Khalil Brown on July 4th, 1993, comes from Greensboro, Georgia. Not a big city, just a tight place where everyone knows everything, and the only paths out are music, sports, or the streets, and he crossed all 3 at some point.
By the time he hit 12, everything flipped for Foo. His uncle came home from prison and dropped a heavy truth. The man he believed was his father was actually his stepfather. That moment hit hard, and Foo said that is when he turned straight to the streets. In a small Georgia town, jumping into that life that young means trouble finds you quick, no delay. By 2013, he was already facing burglary and robbery charges. In 2014, he got sentenced and did 3 years, his first real bid. But here's what stands out about Foo. He did not let that slow him down. When he got out, he locked in on music, and the talent was clear as day. His track Molly Baby Mama started buzzing in 2020, and it was real traction. Not forced, not industry made, just the streets connecting with it heavy. Then DaBaby hopped on the remix, and that pushed everything to another level. And you already know who was watching closely, Gucci Mane, a major figure in trap music, known for spotting Wall Street talent early. He signed Foogiano to 1017 Records in 2020 and gave him a real shot right away. By November 2020, Foo dropped Gutter Baby, and it debuted at #1 on Billboard's Heat Seekers chart. First project, and it hit #1. That is a fast rise, no question. Then things took a sharp turn in December 2020. Foo got arrested in Georgia for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Because of his past charges, even having a weapon was a serious violation. The judge set bail at $50,000 with strict rules, wear an ankle monitor, and stay inside Georgia. Most people would hear that and think, bet, let me move smart and stay low until this clears up. But that is not how this played out.
Y'all, listen, I wanted to make this announcement on 1017 yesterday, but I just seen like my statement, my P&L with all my artists. You know, it's almost like a whole bunch of shakeup and it's a whole shit show in the industry right now. But when I look at my P&L and me being a businessman, I think that I'm gonna have to release almost all my artists.
That would be the smart move, the safe move, but Foogiano made it clear. No cap, I don't care. He did not just remove the ankle monitor, he burned it off his body. Not cut, not slipped off, burned. Then he took off and left Georgia completely, going on the run for 3 months straight. And this part always stands out. While he was on the run, he was still outside performing shows under his real name. Every night he would ask the crowd, if the police come in here, are y'all gonna let them get me? And people would yell back no with full energy. He was moving off confidence and raw street mentality. But this was not a game you could outplay forever. By March 2021, federal agents caught up with him in Memphis, Tennessee. 3 months on the run, and it all ended there. By May 2021, he was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. That time came from the gun charge, destroying the ankle monitor, and being a fugitive, all combined. His girlfriend at the time, Rennie Rucci, went straight to Instagram saying, "You know what it is with me? I got us. #FreeFoo." Meek Mill spoke out too, saying they were trying to end his career over self-protection. Gucci Mane also said publicly he was working to get him strong legal support.
Except for Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano. This is a decision I didn't want to make. I thought about it, you know what I'm saying? I could keep all of them under the contract. But I said, hey, fuck it. Let's just make the unselfish decision and, let them take their talents elsewhere. So
Then 2021 closed in and Foogiano went completely quiet for 5 years. But everything around him kept moving and it changed fast. When he went in, 1017 was on top, with Pooh Shiesty blowing up off Back in Blood, Big Scar building momentum, and Enchanting rising too. The whole label had serious motion back then. Then everything started collapsing, one after another. Pooh Shiesty caught a gun charge in October 2021 and ended up with a 5-year sentence. Big Scar passed away in December 2022 at just 23 years old. Then Enchanting died in June 2024. What once looked like a rising empire turned into a series of losses that hit back to back. Plenty of labels go through struggles, but this felt different. It was like everything around 1017 kept going wrong in a way people could not ignore. By October 2024, Gucci Mane went on Instagram Live and made a serious business move. He said after checking his numbers, he decided to drop almost everyone on the label except 2 artists, Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano. He said it clearly, I'm gonna have to release almost all of my artists except Pooh Shiesty and Foogiano. This is a decision I didn't want to make. I could keep them, but I said, hey, fuck it, let's just make the unselfish decision and let them take their talents elsewhere. It sounded calculated, like a clean executive move on the surface. But here is where it gets wild. The only 2 artists he kept, the ones he believed in the most, were both locked up at the time. That alone had people talking. Then, within months of Pooh Shiesty getting out, everything took a sharp turn. On January 10th, 2026, at Luminous Studios in North Dallas, Gucci Mane showed up thinking it was just a business meeting. Behind the scenes, there had already been tension over contracts, with Shiesty pushing to get out of 1017. Those issues have been building quietly, and this meeting was supposed to address all of it.
Foogiano, the Atlanta-based rapper whose real name is Kwame Brown, is represented by Gucci Mane. Take a look. This is a booking photo just in. U.S. Marshals now say they tracked down the 27-year-old in Memphis last week.
According to prosecutors, things were already being set up before that meeting even started. They say Pooh Shiesty's father, Lantrell Williams Sr., went to a Staples to print out a contract release form, the exact paperwork meant to get Shiesty out of his deal. The whole meeting was presented as business, a way to settle issues, but it was allegedly something much more serious behind the scenes. Once everyone got inside that studio, it was no normal meeting. Federal documents claim 9 people were involved in what followed. Prosecutors say Pooh Shiesty pulled out an AK-style pistol and held someone at gunpoint, forcing a signature on that release form. They also allege Big 30, Rodney Wright Jr., blocked the studio door so nobody could leave. One person was reportedly choked until they almost passed out, while others had jewelry, watches, and cash taken. Authorities described it as an armed takeover, not a negotiation. Investigators say they built the case using surveillance footage, license plate tracking, fingerprints, and phone records linking people to the scene. And one key detail stood out. Pooh Shiesty was supposed to be on house arrest. His monitoring device reportedly showed he left home, traveled from Memphis to Dallas, and then returned after the incident. Federal authorities acted quickly. Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, his father, and several others were all charged with federal kidnapping, a charge that can carry life in prison. Then, things got even more intense. In early April 2026, during a bond hearing in Dallas, FBI Special Agent Pamela Hansen testified under oath. She stated that Gucci Mane gave a statement to Dallas police the same night of the incident, and that investigators relied heavily on information from him and his team. That detail shifted how people started looking at the whole situation.
They tell us they had been trying to find him for 3 months after he apparently melted off his court-ordered ankle monitor, and they tried to track him down there. At last check, Brown is now being held in a jail in Memphis. We've also learned he's part of an ongoing wrongful death lawsuit stemming from a fatal shooting that happened at a nightclub in South Carolina.
Pooh Shiesty was sitting right there in the courtroom when all this came out. Journalist Bryson Paul reported that Shiesty leaned his head against the wall, his legs shaking, looking like he could not believe what he was hearing as the testimony kept going. The judge ended up denying bond, so he stayed locked up. Then, on April 10th, 2026, Gucci Mane dropped a track called Crash Dummy, produced by Zaytoven. The song was clearly aimed at Pooh Shiesty and Big 30, even without naming them directly. The lyrics made it obvious what he was talking about. He rapped about walking into what he thought was a business meeting, only to feel set up. He described being greeted with smiles and handshakes by people he believed were plotting behind his back. He called Shiesty out, saying he moved reckless and reminding him he was still signed to the label. Gucci also made it clear he built 1017 from nothing and was not about to let it fall apart. Then came the line that really shook people. He kept repeating, "I done been betrayed. Now my heart turned cold." That part had the internet reacting fast. The reaction split the streets instantly. Some people respected Gucci for speaking out through music, while others were not feeling it at all. Uncle Murda spoke on it publicly, saying Gucci could not switch up after years of promoting a certain image. He argued that influencing that lifestyle and then cooperating with authorities did not sit right with many people.
For Big Scar has died. This is what was posted by rapper Gucci Mane on his Instagram page. It shows a picture of Big Scar along with the caption that reads, "This hurts. I'm going to miss you." We are hearing the rapper died today. He was signed to Gucci Mane's label.
Charlemagne the God also gave his take, pointing out that the allegations are still not proven. He said when your life is at risk, people start thinking differently about street loyalty, but he also admitted the situation is layered and not easy to judge. The internet was going wild. Instagram comments were blowing up, debates everywhere, non-stop noise. Then April 21st, 2026 hit and everything shifted again. Foogiano came home. That same day, 1017 producer Spiffo made it, posted a selfie with Foo on Instagram and wrote, "No more free Foo." His photographer backed it up too, posting, "Stay free, welcome home, Foo." The image spread fast, picked up everywhere, showing Foogiano smiling wide, flashing those signature grills. And those grills, they are part of his identity. Even while locked up, he kept them. In a BBC documentary, he said he had a permanent $100,000 grill that never left his mouth. Even back in county jail in Greensboro, he said he felt comfortable because he knew the environment. That smile was not just for show, it sent a message. He did not come home worn down. He came back looking the same, like nothing broke him. But the reaction was not just celebration. People instantly started connecting dots because of what he stepped into. His label boss is tied to a serious situation involving his own artist. That same artist who came home months earlier is now in federal custody facing major charges. Gucci Mane dropped a diss track calling people reckless, and now the internet is split, arguing over everything tied to it. 1017 is not stable right now, and Foogiano just walked in as the only artist still free, still active, and not facing charges.
Alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims.
The comments reflected that tension fast. One person wrote, "Rob 2 on the way." Another said, "Let's see how this goes." Someone else added, "Out of everybody who got fucked up in 1017, he might be the one who gets blessed." Then one comment really stood out, saying free food from 1017 before he sent his cartel friends to come get you. That kind of talk shows just how intense the energy around this situation has become. Here is where it gets real. Foogiano's message to Gucci Mane was not a diss track, not a tweet, not even a post. The message was the timing and the silence behind it. Think about it. 5 years in federal prison, watching everything unfold and not saying a word publicly. Then he steps out on April 21st, 2026, just 12 days after Crash Dummy dropped, and right after testimony revealed Gucci spoke to authorities during a major situation. That timing speaks loud. The message comes off like, "I'm here, I saw everything, and I'm still standing." Now look at this deeper. This is someone who burned off his ankle monitor instead of following orders. Someone who kept performing while on the run and asked crowds, "If the police come in here, are y'all gonna let them get me?" That kind of mindset does not just disappear. Even in that BBC interview, he said it straight. "I don't listen to nothing none of y'all say. I do what I want to do. You don't get to pick my life for me. Now I'm gonna pick my own life." That is not someone who folds under pressure. That is someone who moves on his own terms.
From J. Ryan Brown Law, we're going to talk about rapper Foogiano's 5-year prison sentence that he apparently was given in Greene County, Georgia yesterday, and talk about a little bit of circumstances surrounding that. Now, we don't have access to the official court documents right now, so we are kind of basing this off just grassroots level information that is being, passed around.
All that time inside built something up, and now that energy has somewhere to go, and it is pointed right at everything happening around Gucci Mane. But here is the complicated part. Foogiano looked up to Gucci. He said himself Gucci was one of his favorite rappers, someone who inspired him and gave him a real shot in the game. That bond is not small. It carries history and loyalty. At the same time, he just sat for 5 years watching everything change. Big Scar gone, Enchanting gone, Pooh Shiesty caught up in serious legal trouble after getting out, Gucci speaking to investigators, dropping records calling his own artist reckless. The whole circle shifted, and now Foogiano is back in the middle of it, seeing it all up close. Now, Gucci is down to one man, Foogiano. And Foo just stepped into a label that by any clear view is in a rough place. The chilling part of this is not aggression. It is the question his return brings that nobody is really saying out loud. What does Foogiano do next? Does he stay in with Gucci through all this chaos? Does he stay with 1017 and become the face of a label that people are side-eyeing right now? Does he try to move differently and separate himself without getting caught up in more legal trouble? Or does he break away completely and build his own path, using everything he gained during those 5 years inside? That photo says a lot. The smile, the grills, the energy. It does not look like someone ready to just fall in line. That looks like someone who spent 1,825 days thinking and planning. And people can feel it. That is why the reactions online came in so strong. Supporters are not just seeing a rapper come home. They are watching the last unpredictable piece enter a situation that already lost key players.
Charging document outlines some of the evidence, just some, establishing the defendant's roles in the federal offense. This is as follows. Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location, which would put him in violation of his home detention conditions. Cell phone records and license plate reader data corroborating the coordinated travel of multiple defendants from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas. Rental car records confirming Williams Sr. rented a vehicle that was used by the group. Surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several of the defendants stayed following the offense. Fingerprint evidence as well that was recovered from the crime scene, matching at least 2 of the defendants.
Now take a step back, because this is bigger than just Foogiano and Gucci Mane. This situation reflects a larger issue in the industry. When Gucci rebuilt 1017 around 2020, he did what he is known for, finding raw street talent, giving them a platform and backing them fully. For a moment, it worked. Pooh Shiesty was putting up huge numbers, Foogiano had momentum, Big Scar was rising, and the label felt powerful again. But here is the deeper layer. Gucci's whole brand is built on street credibility. The 1017 image, the trap music identity, all of it comes from a certain kind of street energy. When you build a label on that foundation and bring in artists from that world, you cannot be shocked when that same energy follows them through the door. Uncle Murda said it straight, and he had a point. Gucci Mane spent years promoting that trap lifestyle, pushing that image across Atlanta, Memphis, and beyond. That message reaches real people and shapes real choices. Then, when things got serious at that Dallas studio, Gucci gave a statement to police that same night. That is not about attacking him. That is reality. He has a family, a business, and a life to protect. Anyone in that situation has the right to go to law enforcement. Charlemagne made that clear too. But the streets do not always separate image from reality. When someone has carried a certain identity for so long, reactions are going to be strong when things shift.
But it does appear that there's a lot of talk about him getting 5 years for removing an ankle monitor or something like that. But it also seems that he had a possession of a firearm by a convicted felon charge. And from our perspective as criminal defense attorneys here in Georgia, I think that that is what likely led to the 5-year prison sentence. So recently there was a case in Georgia that deals with possession of a firearm by a convicted.
And this is where Foogiano stands out the most. He is the only one in this situation who has not made a move yet that locks him into one side or the other. That position right there makes everything about his next step feel unpredictable. Pooh Shiesty made his move, serious federal accusations. Gucci made his move, a police statement and a diss track. Big 30 made his move, allegedly being part of that situation. Uncle Murda made his move, calling Gucci out in public. Everybody connected to 1017 has shown their hand already. But Foogiano, he just got home and his cards are still face down. That right there is power. Look at his position right now. He has real street credibility. 5 years in federal prison, no claims of cooperating, just time served. He had real momentum in music before he went in, and people were paying attention. On top of that, he is still tied to 1017, a label that is now surrounded by controversy. And based on how he moves, he is not known for playing things small.
So the message is bigger than just, I'm back. It feels more like I've been watching everything, and now I have choices. That is what makes this moment heavy. Now, the real question, what happens next? There are a few directions this could go. One path, he stays with Gucci and helps rebuild 1017. That is the loyalty route. Gucci gave him a shot when others did not, and that history matters. If Fu comes back focused, drops strong music, and helps restore the label's name, that could shift everything. A reset moment with him leading the charge would be a serious statement. Another path, he steps away and builds on his own. After everything that happened around the label, he could decide it is too much to carry right now. Going independent would let him move freely, drop music on his own terms, and rebuild his name without being tied to all the noise surrounding 1017. Road 3, and this is the one people are watching closely. Foogiano speaks out, not quietly, not halfway, but directly about Gucci, the situation, and everything he saw during those 5 years inside. Maybe it comes through an interview, maybe it is in a song, maybe even a full documentary. One thing is clear, he has a perspective most people will never have. 5 years watching 1017 fall apart from a distance builds a different level of insight. If he decides to speak openly, people are going to listen. And here is the real part. The message Foogiano sent is not finished yet. What people are seeing right now, the timing, the photo, the silence, that is just a start. The full message is still unfolding, and nobody knows exactly how it ends. That is the question hanging over everything. Not Gucci, not fans, nobody can say for sure what Foogiano's next move will be.
But one thing is known. This is someone who burned off an ankle monitor instead of being controlled. That kind of mindset does not come home and just adjust quietly. That is someone who moves on his own terms. 5 years is a long time. 5 years watching your label collapse, watching people you know face serious situations, watching your mentor become one of the most talked about names in the game. That kind of time builds pressure, focus, and intention. Now, that pressure has somewhere to go. April 21st, 2026, Foogiano is back. The last active name tied to 1017, stepping into a situation filled with tension. Gucci Mane, the one who gave him that first shot, is right in the center of it all. Right now, the whole culture is watching closely to see what comes next. Drop your thoughts below. Does Foogiano stay loyal or move on? What move makes the most sense here? If this hit, tap that like button, subscribe for more, share this with someone who's been following this story, and comment Road 3 so I know you made it to the end.